Hare Krishna. So in this example, we're again back in Blazing Edits by Bhakti Torben. And this article was originally posted on the Sampradaya Sun. It is called Merged. And this is a really, really strange and interesting example of a change. Now in the authorized and original 1972 Bhagavad Gita, and now we are looking at chapter 8, verse 18. Srila Prabhupada writes, "When Brahma's day is manifest, this multitude of living entities come into being, and at the arrival of Brahma's night, they are all annihilated." And we find the same in the Science of Self-Realization, the same verse. So we see that Srila Prabhupada used and approved this verse, and he had it used in other books also. Now, in the 1983 Bhagavad Gita as it is, in Jayadvaita's unauthorized Bhagavad Gita, we find that this has been significantly changed. He writes, "At the beginning of Brahma's day, all living entities become manifest from the unmanifest state. And thereafter, when the night falls, they are merged into the unmanifest again." So it seems like these verses are completely different, like written by different authors. Prabhupada writes, "When Brahma's day is manifest, this multitude of living entities come into being, and at the arrival of Brahma's night, they are all annihilated." Whereas Jayadvaita Swami writes that they become manifest from the unmanifest state, and thereafter, when the night falls, they are merged into the unmanifest again. Now, if we go to the original manuscript, the draft of the Bhagavad Gita, we see that Srila Prabhupada writes there, or it is transcribed, that on the manifest of the Brahma's day, all living entities, they come into being, and when there is arrival of night of Brahma, everything becomes annihilated. Now, this this clearly shows that the 1972 edition is true to the words of Srila Prabhupada. Now, I want to show you something more in relation to this. If we go to the original Bhagavad Gita, as we find on this website, text chapter 8, text 18, and we look at the word for word, the synonyms translation, we find the words praliyante are annihilated. And this is of course used here when Brahma's day is manifest, this multitude of living entities come into being, and at the arrival of Brahma's night they are all annihilated. And again we see also in the purport that the words they are all annihilated is used. Now let us see here. Now here we have a conversation with Srila Prabhupada, and it seems like Srila Prabhupada is reading the verse out loud himself. He starts to speak here, and then he reads the verse here, and he has absolutely no objections to the wording. Then we have here, it's actually, this is the original manuscript. Let us see here. On the manifest of the Brahma's day, all living entities, they come into being, and when there is arrival of night of Brahma, everything becomes annihilated. So here we have the original manuscript, and I think we can also find the words annihilated in the purport. Similarly, they are annihilated. Now, the funny thing is that in Jayadvaita Swami's Bhagavad Gita, if we look at the word for word synonyms here, he has this praliyante, are annihilated. Here, But he has changed the verse. At the beginning of Brahma's day, all living entities become manifest from the unmanifest state. And thereafter, when the night falls, they are merged into the unmanifest again. So why has he changed it? And he keeps it here in the word for word synonyms. This is a really strange example. So, yeah, there's nothing more to do than think about it and, look at the evidence and see how many times the Advaita Swami is actually putting in his own words in Bhagavad Gita. He's not at all making the Bhagavad Gita closer to Prabhupada, closer to the original manuscript. He's actually he's changing it to become further away from the original manuscript and further away from Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for watching. Hare Krishna.